starts quietly, doesn't it? There's no warning, no thunder before the storm. One day, everything feels normal. The laughter, the plans, the people you think will always be there. And then, in a heartbeat, it all collapses. Sometimes it's a betrayal, sometimes it's loss, sometimes it's just the slow realization that the world doesn't care how much you've given. You stand there in the ruins of what used to be your life, and it hits you. This is what broken feels like. Not dramatic, not loud, just empty. You don't even cry at first, because even your tears seem too tired to fall. The world keeps moving while you're stuck in that stillness. You try to keep breathing, pretending that you're fine, but deep down, something inside you has cracked. You look around and wonder if anyone notices, if anyone can see that the smile you wear is just a mask barely holding together. But no one does. People don't see pain until it's loud. And by the time it gets loud, it's already too late. There's a strange kind of clarity that comes with being broken. Suddenly you see what you couldn't before. The people who said they cared vanish. The ones who promised to stay drift away. And all that's left is you, alone, raw, and real. That's when you start to understand the truth. No one saves you from this. No one pulls you out of the darkness. You do that yourself, or you don't at all. It's terrifying, realizing that the only person who can fix you is the one who's shattered. But in that terror, something powerful stirs, a tiny spark, small, fragile, but alive. You start to feel the faintest pulse beneath the pain, a heartbeat whispering, "You're still here." And that realization changes everything. Because being broken doesn't mean you're done. It means you've finally seen the truth stripped of all illusions. You can't go back to who you were before it broke. That version of you doesn't exist anymore. But maybe that's the point. Maybe this destruction isn't the end. It's the beginning of something real. Because the moment you realize you've survived the shattering, you start to see it for what it really was. Not a curse, but a rebirth. Falling, it's not as sudden as people think. It's not one big crash. It's slow. It's quiet. It's days blending into nights, nights into mornings. And before you know it, time feels like a blur. You stop keeping track. You stop caring. The things that once mattered lose their color. You stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering when exactly everything started to fade. And the worst part, nobody even notices the fall. You just disappear a little more every day, piece by piece, smile by smile, until one day, even you don't recognize the reflection staring back. You tell yourself it's just a bad phase, that you'll bounce back. But deep down, there's a part of you that doesn't believe it anymore. The pain becomes routine, like breathing. You wear it like a second skin. And the more you try to fight it, the tighter it wraps around you. People will say, "Stay strong." But they don't understand what it's like to feel strength slipping through your fingers. They don't know what it's like to scream on the inside while your voice stays silent. It's in that silence where the fall hits hardest. Not when you hit rock bottom, but when you realize no one's coming to catch you. You start to understand that maybe this is it. Maybe this is where your story ends. But then something strange happens. In that cold, hollow place where everything seems lost, a whisper stirs. It's quiet, almost too faint to hear, but it's there. That small, stubborn part of you that refuses to die. The part that says, "Not yet." That whisper doesn't promise comfort. It doesn't erase the pain. It just reminds you that you're still breathing, still fighting, even when you don't want to. That's what makes it powerful. Not its volume, but its persistence. And as small as it is, that whisper becomes your anchor. It keeps you from drowning completely. Because even when everything around you crumbles, that flicker of resistance, that quiet defiance, it means you're still alive. And if you're still alive, no matter how deep you've fallen, the story isn't over yet. There comes a point when the pain stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like pressure. Pressure that shapes you, molds you, hardens you into something new. When life breaks you, it's not just the crack that hurts. It's the fire that follows. The burn that crawls through every shattered piece of who you used to be, forcing you to face yourself without the lies, without the masks, without the illusions. You see every weakness, every scar, every mistake, and it hurts. But that's where the transformation begins. The fire doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't care about your excuses, your fears, or your past. It burns everything that isn't real. The fake friendships, the false confidence, the version of yourself you built just to please others. It strips you bare until there's nothing left but the truth. And that truth, it's ugly, it's raw, but it's yours. You start realizing that maybe being broken wasn't destruction. Maybe it was purification. Maybe the pain wasn't there to end you, but to reveal you. Because strength doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in chaos, in nights where sleep feels impossible, in moments where you want to quit, but don't. It grows when you choose to stand up again, not because you're healed, but because you refuse to surrender. Every scar becomes proof that the fire didn't win. Every tear becomes a reminder that you felt deeply and still survived. And here's the twist. Once you've been through that kind of fire, you stop fearing it. You stop fearing pain, rejection, loneliness, because you've already lived through worse. You know what it's like to be burned and still rise from the ashes. That's when people start noticing something different in you. Not your smile, not your strength, but your stillness. The quiet confidence of someone who's already walked through hell and doesn't flinch at the flames anymore. The fire didn't destroy you, it forged you. And now every scar, every crack, every mark left behind isn't something to hide. It's proof of what you endured. Proof that you didn't just survive the pain, you became it, mastered it, and turned it into power. When you finally rise from the wreckage, it doesn't feel glorious. It's not some cinematic moment with music swelling in the background. It's quiet, hauntingly quiet. You stand there surrounded by the ruins of who you used to be, and you realize something's different. You're not the same. The softness in your heart still beats, but it beats through scars now. The innocence that once blinded you is gone, replaced by a strange kind of wisdom, the kind that only pain can teach. You don't trust as easily. You don't hope as recklessly. You've learned the hard way that not everyone clapping for you wants to see you win. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The pain didn't just break you. It carved out the illusions that held you back. The people who walked away taught you who never deserved to stay. The moments that nearly destroyed you revealed the strength you never knew you had. Now, when the storms come, and they will, you don't panic anymore. You've already lived through the worst kind of chaos. You know what it's like to be shattered and still wake up the next day breathing. And that knowledge, it changes everything. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing people. You stop apologizing for outgrowing the version of yourself that tolerated less than you deserved. You walk differently now, slower, steadier, more deliberate. Every step carries the weight of every battle you've survived. And people can feel it. They sense something in you, not arrogance, not pride, but power. The kind of power that doesn't need validation. The kind that's earned in silence, through nights no one saw and tears no one heard. The same world that once mocked your pain now whispers your name with caution, because you're not the same broken soul they remember. You're something else now, something unshakable. You've learned to bleed without begging for help. to hurt without losing hope, to walk through fire and not let the flames consume you. You've learned that survival isn't about being untouched. It's about rising anyway, again and again, until the world understands that nothing it throws can break you anymore. That's when you finally see it. You were never just broken. You were being rebuilt for something greater.